Yes, good people, big up to all of you, and welcome back to Chelsea Perspective. Welcome back to another Transfer Watch show on Chelsea Perspective. You can still call it the Blue Morning Show because it's just 10 minutes past 11 my time. I hope you're all doing well. Today we'll talk about Christopher, we'll talk about Victor Osimhen, we'll talk about Armando Broja, talk about Conor Gallagher, Christopher Nkunku, Romeo Latvia, and of course Malo Gusto, and also Robert Sanchez who's returned to training. We have a lot to talk about, and chances are, as the show progresses, some of the news will emerge, and be rest assured we keep our eyes on out there and on the hunt for Chelsea related news, and be rest assured that if anything emerges, that this will be the first place you'll hear about it. So sit back, relax, and let's get into the show without wasting much of your time. Let's go, people. Let's go. Yes, people, welcome back to Chelsea Perspective once again. A quick rundown of what we have lined up today. It is a transfer news versus updates from the club, injury news, and all that. We'll talk about Victor Osimhen. We'll talk about Conor Gallagher. We'll talk about Armando Broja. We'll talk about Christopher Nkunku, Romeo Latvia, and of course Gusto, the injury updates, and we'll look at training pictures, which usually gives us because the manager hasn't had his presser before that will be tomorrow. So, but the training pictures will tell us quite a lot. But that's why we keep dropping the likes on the stream, people. The likes do go a long way. Sincerely, do appreciate you all finding the time to join the show. And to those of you following the show on Instagram, thank you so much. On X, on Facebook, I appreciate you all, and thank you very much for finding the time to join us. I'm going to go without wasting much of your time. We're going to start addressing the items we have lined up, and as soon as we're done, we'll call it a day. No need, you can say, boring you with recycled news. Let's see. Thank you. We have about 3 people following the show on Instagram. And if you're following the show on Instagram, just be sure to drop a like for us on there. On X, drop a like for us on Facebook. Keep dropping the likes on the show for us to help us garner more lives, and pay attention to what we have on the screen. And we're not joking about that. We have witnesses that you can ask about our monthly giveaway for our members who are students. You could be the next winner. You never know. Let's see. Chichilla in the house. I was around 4 a.m. I had to postpone the show. I have to probably most likely spend money for another system. I had issues too. Again, I think, plus the internet connection, I have to do better. But nice to see you, Constantine Dante. You had to change the time again. He's saying he's sleeping. Won't make the show at that. I have a good one. Thank you so much, brother. I appreciate you for your kind words, even though you're not happy that we had to change the date. Patrick just is saying, hi, coach. I only have one update to tell you that Jurgen Klopp is leaving Liverpool at the end of the season. Thank you for that. I appreciate you, Patrick. I hope you're doing well. Dante and Patrick, hi to you, to Chelsea. Mitchell. Woo! Nice to see you, Mitchell boy. I hope you're doing well. The Hist, the Gist, the Scotch Watch. Nice to see you, brother. I appreciate you finding the time to join the show. Big up the Gist. Big up you two there, and my fellow 2 a.m. brother. Nice to see you. Big up Coach Dante Michi up the Chelsea says. I appreciate you all finding the time to join the show. We have just 10 likes and we are 8 minutes into the show. That's a good sign, I would say. But keep dropping the likes on the stream, people. The likes do go along. I appreciate you all finding the time to join the show. And I have my bro, Vic, is in the house. Vic, nice to see you, brother. Much love. Let's go. Let's go. He's been a member for 2 months now. I appreciate you for that, brother. That's not easy. You're the reason why, every day we wake up, we get encouraged to come do more, and hopefully we'll find more people join the gang, or let me use the team, because I want it to be. The plan is for it to be more like a network, consistent content releases for our viewers. Hopefully that will happen. I've spoken with a few people, but some of them I can't quite trust because that involves giving them access to the back end and everything. Big up to you too. I've sensed behaviors that caused me to relent a bit in doing that. Big up to you too. Phil, you're on the panel too. So at the same time in the chat, I appreciate you finding the time to join the show. Phil, more importantly, let me speak with you and hear how you're doing. I hope you're good, brother. How have you been?
Big up, coach. Big up, everyone.
Big up to
I've
you too,
been
my bro.
doing okay. It's just that I haven't been finding time to actually come to the show because always busy with work and
Mhm.
other stuff and other commitments. But finding some time to actually come and talk to you guys, it's actually good because I feel like having a community like this, it's almost like having friends, and you are almost like you're among friends. So it's actually something good because we're actually aligned in the same goal, which is supporting our team, and that's
Mhm.
just something which is important for me as well.
Yeah, I appreciate that. I appreciate the fact that you appreciate we are more like a family here, and yeah, we support the same club. Our beloved club, Chelsea Football Club. I appreciate you finding the time to say that, and big up to you too here. So we'll have to start addressing the items we have lined up, and as soon as we're done with that, we'll go. We'll call it a day. So if anything new emerges by the time the show ends, the first item we have here: Chelsea are looking for around 16 million for Conor Gallagher, despite tentative injuries. Very few clubs are in a position to meet Chelsea's demands for Conor Gallagher, particularly in this window. Heston, I'm going to say this, I've said before. He's not my favorite Chelsea player. He's not the worst either. And the truth remains, he's been one of our best players this season so far. And if you're going by the manager's selection pattern, it'd be easy to come to the conclusion that he's the manager's, you can say, most important player, whether you think it's bad or not. And that's not me saying that translates to the fact that he is one of Chelsea's best players. No, that's not the case. But here's the thing: I'm going to say this. I don't think he leaves this window, and that's because we don't have any other player that offers what he offers to the team. No matter how you want to define that, I'm saying trying to see things from the manager's perspective, and not me again. My argument isn't whether he's good or bad. And I think that's a good player in him, and he can only get better. But that's, by the way, my point is the manager likes him, and he's done really well this season for us. And no other player has been as consistent. At least let's start see from the perspective of being available for selection, never gets injured. That's so important at a time where it takes just the feel of the breeze to get one of our players injured and out for 1,000 years. You'd have to appreciate him for what he brings to the team. Availability, they say, is the best ability, and I'm all for that. Until I don't think the manager would want to let him go until we sign another player that offers what he offers and even more, no matter how you say it. But Phil, let's hear you. I don't know if you have anything to say with regards to this. For me, I don't think he leaves this January transfer. If anything, beyond January, I'm not sure what happens. But let's hear you, Phil.
For me personally, I feel like Gallagher has been one of our best players this season,
Mm-hmm.
and him being one of our best players, whereby he's always available and he's always reliable, especially when you are playing games like those high intensity games, like when we play Liverpool, Manchester City, Newcastle. He's always there and he never gets injured. I feel there is no point for us to sell him this January because we still have a lot of players out, and some of the players who can actually play almost like that same Gallagher role, like Romeo Lavia, they are not going to be a bit fit until almost like maybe sometime next month or even in March, which means at least
Mm-hmm.
having him around, it's going to be a plus. If he wants to leave, which I know he doesn't, maybe they can sell him maybe in summer, because at times, with all these clubs and stuff, you just have to know that at times when you have players even when the players are coming from the academy, there is no way you are going to keep those players forever. But one thing which I've noticed on Twitter, most of the people, they are angry and they are mad. They are saying like, why should you sell Gallagher? Why are we selling all these academy players? But people don't actually understand that the main purpose for us having an academy is actually for us to be able to develop these players and sell them and make profit from some of these players, which will mean that it can help the club and it can also help our team as well in case we have some of the best academy prospects that are going to come from there. For instance, if you look at some of the players that we have been getting from the academy, players like Gilchrist, players like Loftus Cheek, who have left, of course, players like Reece James. These are some of the important players that we can actually look at the club and say, okay, we have these players, we know that they are going to put everything when it comes to games because they are always going to know that this is my home. I'm supposed to put everything, and they've grown up knowing that playing for Chelsea is actually something which is more of a privilege and it's something that they have dreamt of for a long time. So I
I think it
think
is. I think it is given the size of our club.
definitely, and also having someone like Gallagher, whereby even if you bench him, he will still want to be at Chelsea. The only thing which we're having problem with right now is because he hasn't actually signed the new contract. And I think the terms which are there for the contract, they are not going to be as conducive for him as a player because I think right now, if you look, I think he's one of our least paid players because you look at some of the players that are actually there at the club. Players like Fofana,
Mm.
they're actually getting something like 200 or 250K a week. So when you look at him as well, and he now comes and sees that some of these players is a bit better than them and he's starting every week, while least most of them are injured. I think just giving him that 150K that he might actually like, I think it's much better for us to keep him other than sell him during this period. You give him a new contract to sign, at least it's going to increase his value. Then in case you want to actually sell him, let's say in summer, then you are going to get up to that amount, which is like 60 million. But right now, if we're not going to allow him to sign, then we get to summer, then we still want to sign to sell him. I don't think we'll get that same amount because there is no club which is going to be crazy to come out and pay 60 million for someone who has less than 1 year on their current deal. I just think it's absurd.
All right, I will come back to you in a bit. I appreciate that detailed response from you. And we have my bro, it's in the house, Surinade Govindarajan. Nice to see you, brother. This is a big up, brother Kachila. Always the best streamer for content of Chelsea and a nice human being to be friends with. I appreciate you, brother. Thank you so much. And again, I cannot thank you enough for the how kind-hearted you are, and the fact you're a nice person deep down. Even though I haven't met you in person, but I can vouch that that's the case. But nice to see you, brother. More importantly, I appreciate you finding. I know whenever the show is during that time of the day, you will not hesitate to come say hello. But I appreciate you. More importantly, keep dropping the likes on the stream, people. The likes do go a long way. And quickly, I want to appeal to those of you who are watching, but for one reason or the other, you're not able to participate in the chat. Just know that we appreciate you. And that's because you watching alone does go a long way. But we want to ask you for one tiny beauty favor, which is to take a second and drop a like on the stream for us. And that's because the more likes we garner, the more the YouTube algorithm will be triggered and forced to push this into more people who be interested. And for me, the Gallagher's with regards to the rumors that he's asking for 150K per week, I'm not going to even get into talking about that, and that's because there's no way to confirm that's the case. Do I think chances are that how much his salary will turn out to be an issue? I think so. And that's because it's business for all parties involved. Chances are, if he senses that if he leaves Chelsea and goes to another club, that he'd be earning nearly twice as much, or maybe let's just say more than the club are willing to be paying him on a weekly basis. And I don't have an issue with that. But right now, I'm just going to say what I said before. Do I think he leaves this January? In my opinion, I'd say no. Beyond that, anything can happen, and that's because beyond January, he'd have a little less left, about 16 months or less left on his current contract, which means that probably he will learn that he gets a sign-off fee if he gets to leave as a free agent, and probably wouldn't be eager to sign a new contract. It takes something special to convince him to sign a new contract, and the club will look to sell him and not let him leave as a free agent. So it's a bit complicated. At the same time, it's not that much complicated. If the manager really wants him to stay, he'd be open, straightforward with his comments, and just let the owners know that he wants him, that he's important, a very important part of his squad. He wants him to stay. All he's done is preach about how he's come through Chelsea's academy, his commitment on the pitch, how well he's played this season and all that. But he hasn't specifically said point blank say, I want him to stay, and I want the club to find an agreement with them and keep him. But that's by the way, for me, he stays, he leaves, I'm fine with it. That's just who I am. Let's see what else we have here. Keep dropping the likes on the stream, people. The likes that go a long way. And my boss, I haven't seen you in a while. I hope you're good. And I truly do hope that the case is that you've been busy and that nothing bad has happened on your end. My boss is saying, big up, coach, I would take the 16 million for Gallagher. The guy offers nothing you would take. This is not saying that anybody has offered 60 million. It's saying Chelsea are looking for around 60 million, and I don't think anybody will offer that. That could be the reason why the price tag is high. It could be that the club doesn't want to sell him, or they recognize that he's important to the manager. That's the language I want to use, because I hate getting into the argument whether he's good enough for Chelsea or whether he's a good player overall. That's not my business. It's up to the club to decide how they see him. 60 million for Gallagher. The guy offers nothing up forward. He doesn't get goals and assists. But I've explained to you, nobody has offered that much. I think if that has happened, we'll be hearing about his departure right now. But just by the way, let's move on to the next item. We have Lionel. By the way, the report on the screen here, Simon Jones of Mail Sports is the person being quoted on that. And let's move on to the next item. We have lined up, people. Keep dropping the likes on the stream, people. The likes that do go a long way. Sincerely do appreciate you all finding the time to join the show this particular morning. Kachila, let's ruin our club's party just like we did with Wenger when we beat Arsenal 6-0 at home back in 2013-14 season under Mourinho. It was Wenger's 1,000th appearance as an Arsenal manager. Yeah, we did talk about that. Was that 2 days ago? You could call that a send forth party, and he's also told the staff for the Liverpool fans to make it difficult for us. And if I were Chelsea manager, I'd let my players know that they are preparing for us to know the seriousness of the game. Beyond it being a final, the fact that Jurgen Klopp would like to win that because this is his final season. This will be his final season as Liverpool's manager. But that's by the way, keep dropping the likes on the stream, people. The likes will go a long way. And if you're using a desktop, I'm not sure if you see that on small devices. Click on the emoji sign at the bottom right. Then choose either the 100%, the heart icon, or whatever one you like, that to help us trigger the YouTube algorithm to push the stream to more people who be interested. With the injuries we have, he should stay. Beyond that, I think there's a good play in him. Update clothing. Do I think Chelsea can do way better than him? Oh yeah. Yep. He's still learning again, but I think he will become better, or he'll get better and better over time. But that's just my opinion anyway. Let's move on to the next item we have lined up, people. Let's go. The likes on the stream. Let's talk about Robert Sanchez is back in training. Okay. Here's what I want to say. I'm not saying he's a bad goalkeeper, but I think we've seen enough. We have enough sample size to conclude, at least me personally, I've seen enough to conclude that Petrovic is a much better goalkeeper of the two. He's better on the ball, calmer on the ball. He has he has better passing range. His distribution is excellent. He's quick to get up his line to do the sweeper keeper thing and help us avoid conceding goal. He hardly misplaces his passes, and he has better reflexes. And that's, again, back to the fact, that's my opinion. From what I've seen so far, you could argue, I think you'd be right to argue that Petrovic is the much better goalkeeper of the two. But let's hear you. What do you think? The fact that he's back in training, do you think Petrovic should make way for him whenever he's ready to start? I'd say no. For me, it's a no for me. And that's because he had the opportunity to, you could say, to cement that number one place as he is. He was shaky at times and made that some. He was averaging a single mistake per game, and had the opposition have been clinical enough and punished us, given how many times he's made mistake. You could argue probably now the club will be talking about how to get rid of him. But we were quite lucky that on occasions that he's made those high-profile mistakes, we considered only maybe twice or three times. But for me, I've seen enough. Because I have enough to compare the two goalkeepers and conclude that Petrovic is the much better of the two in every way, in my opinion. But keep dropping the likes on the stream, people. The likes still go along, but also do subscribe to the channel if you haven't. We're getting closer and closer to 20,000 subscribers. Right now, we're at 18,710. Let's make that happen, people. I think we can. And let's see, up the closing side, all the midfielders we have. Injury players, injury-prone players, but he's always fit. Oh yeah, that's a start. Availability is the best ability, they say. I wouldn't be surprised if Cesare Casade outperforms Gallagher in the midfield. They differ. They're two different type of players. If anything, Cesare Casade is more like Enzo type of player. He has the vision, but actually, I think he brings more, given that you could argue he has the beauty to be more physical than Enzo Fernandez. Whether he gets to that level, I don't know. But you could argue also Enzo is better in terms of his vision and passing range. But Cesare is still much younger. How old is he? I think 19, at most 20 right now. And we'll get there with time. Chimera, nice to see you. I appreciate you finding the time to join the show this particular morning. It's still morning for me, and that's because it's still 11:33 a.m. And this is to you, Chimera, even though I don't like you. But much love. Okay, the soundboard wouldn't work for you, so let's see. I wanted to say hello to you, but that's right away, Chimera. Nice to see you. Let's see. Poch needs to realize that Cesare is a talent. I think he knows that, which you could argue was the reason why we called him back in the first place. We didn't call him back because he wasn't playing. We called him back probably because we think he can be of good use for us. He will get a chance to play, and we lack numbers to some extent in that department, in my opinion. But keep dropping the likes on the stream, people. The likes do go along with. Sincerely, do appreciate you all finding the time to join the show. Let's go, people. Let's go. Cesare goes to his game in midfield. Yep. I think he has an excellent shot in him. Can shoot from outside the box. It can often hits the target. Let's move on to the next item. Let's say but before we do that, I want to hear from you, Phil. What do you think? Robert Sanchez is back in training, but do you think the manager should bring him back as the number one? I don't think so. I think if Petrovic, since he's been guarding the sticks for us, he hasn't put a foot wrong, in my opinion. And as such should keep his place, except if he starts to falter, then we give Sanchez another opportunity. For me, that's why you have two good goalkeepers. But let's hear you, Phil. What do you think?
For me personally, I wouldn't drop Petrovic not even a single day in life after the performances that he has put all this time. He has conceded lesser goals than Sanchez. He he has actually performed better than
Have
Sanchez.
they just quickly? Have they
Hasn't been
played?
making
Let's say
mistakes.
equal amount of game. I'm sure if there's a disparity between the number of games, there should be. It won't be that much. But go ahead.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. But the thing is, like, if you actually see how Petrovic actually plays, he's more composed. He's not rash. He's
Mm,
calm most of the time. His ball distribution is actually better than Sanchez, and his passing ability as well is actually good. Because I noticed that some few weeks ago, because whenever he has the ball, he's not too rushed to just kick the ball anyway. Because Sanchez is good, of course, he's a good shot stopper, but the issue which I have with him is he's prone to make a lot of mistakes, which usually cost us games. Like that game
mhm.
versus Arsenal, we shouldn't have lost that game. And also that other goal which he conceded when we played City.
Did we
on
lose? Did the game end in a draw?
Yeah, like it ended as a draw. But mainly that
Mm,
game versus Arsenal, it was because of his mistake that Declan Rice actually shot that goal and he scored. Because this guy just gave the ball away to Declan Rice and he just shot the ball and he never missed and he scored, which meant
mm.
that these other guys, they now had the momentum, they started pushing as hard, and we ended up drawing that game. The same thing with that
We
other
could have
game.
lost actually.
Yeah, we're supposed to lose that game, but we're kind of a bit lucky, I guess. And also that other game we played versus Manchester City, there was a goal which was like an open header from Akanji. He was supposed to save that goal, not for him to slip and let the goal go in just like that, because it was a simple goal. So I feel
Mm.
like in as much as he is a good short stopper, he also needs to sit on the bench right now because he has cost us games before. And right now I think Petrovic is actually the better chance to actually get us far. So he can sit on the bench. That's my opinion.
Yeah, I think I feel the same. This thing, I'm just gonna leave it at you say just leave it at the fact that Petrovic shouldn't be dropped. He hasn't put the foot wrong. He's been brilliant, and we've seen enough to conclude that he's actually the much better goalkeeper of the two. So it just
Yeah,
wouldn't make sense for him to be dropped to the bench whenever Sanchez is ready to be selected. I don't think it'd make any sense. If anything, if Sanchez comes in and still, you said, be showing the lack of composure on the ball that we've seen when he was guarding the stage for us. And then the manager, he'd have a lot of questions to answer from the fan base. But that's, by the way, we have the legendary Bobby in the house. I appreciate you finding time to join the show, Bobby. Once more,
yeah,
I'd
big
like to
up, Bobby.
welcome you, please. All right, yeah, because Bobby's in the house. Bobby, let's hear you. We're seeing that Robert Sanchez is back in training. Yeah, and a lot of people, like you say, discussing whether Petrovic should be dropped. A lot of people aren't saying actually questioning whether Petrovic should be dropped. They're just calling for the manager not to bring him back in, not to make him. You can say not to get. Like Petrovic should continue being the starting goalkeeper and not Sanchez. Let him not make that mistake of dropping Petrovic because people are concerned. The fact that he has Brighton connection, the goalkeeper trainers that he's worked with before, and the leading goalkeeper trainers at Chelsea, that could lead to them. You say there could be chances that there be a bit of a bias that he comes once he's ready to start. He gets to start, and Petrovic will be dropped. Let's hear you, Bobby. What do you make of that?
Big up, guys. Well,
A big up to you too, brother.
I think that's all the more reason he won't drop him because of the perceived or possibility to perceive a bias.
Mm,
He's not going to drop him. Petrovic hasn't done anything wrong, and continuity is the name of the game. And competition's always healthy. Um, he has seen the lapses with Sanchez, and he will hope that watching Petrovic would up Sanchez's game. I don't think Sanchez can play any better than he is right now, to be honest. And I think this is Petrovic is to lose should he, not perform. I don't see a problem with it. I'm glad we have that competition. We need competition. We're Chelsea Football Club. This is not new to us, having people vying for one position. I can't really, I don't really understand. I can't see what the issue is here. He's not just gonna drop um, Petrovic
Petrovic.
like that. No, he's not. No manager will do
Mm.
that sort of thing.
Yeah. Something else we've talked about already before you joined us. I don't know whether to believe this. I don't know Simon Jones. This is saying that Chelsea are looking for around £60 million for Conor Gallagher. And the second paragraph of the report is saying, despite tentative inquiries, very few clubs are in a position to meet Chelsea's demands for Conor Gallagher, particularly in this window. You have anything to add to that, or should we move on?
Well, what I'll say to him is, so what? It is what it is. These people trying to flog Gallagher. Gallagher, as far as I'm concerned, is not going anywhere. This is all just wind. He's not going anywhere, not this January. And in fact, if people aren't careful, especially these rumor mongers, they're going to find that Chelsea won't do any business this January. They're not in a rush to do anything, and I'm really glad of that. So yeah, I mean, so what? If no club's going to meet 60 million valuation, well, that shows that Chelsea aren't really that serious to get rid
Yeah,
of the guy.
because 60 million, they probably know nobody will pay that much money.
Yeah, it's that simple. I'm not worried about it either.
Yeah, I just tell people that I don't see him leave this January. Beyond that, I'm not too sure what's going to happen, because beyond January, then his contract situation comes into play, and that's huge. Yeah, because he realizes that he can earn more somewhere else, and there's a chance the club will not be willing to pay him. Then he will most likely, you could say, turn to something similar to the case of Mason Mount. But I'm not. I'm just going to leave it at beyond January. I'm not too sure what's going to happen. But let's hear you, brother.
Yeah, beyond January, it's possible that could be the situation. Am I concerned? Well, no, because that gives the club the opportunity to not only find a replacement, but to sign him
That's
up.
if they decide to sell him.
Well, if they decide not to sell him, it gives the club the opportunity not only, if they decide to sell him, to find a replacement, but to also sign him up. That's a bit of a reprieve period. I'm not worried. I think it's quite clear. Gallagher knows the time of day. He knows what's on offer. I don't know what the contract situation is, but if rumor be be believed, it's an issue of weekly wages, and with that, the club also has to be careful with. We need to be wise here. We don't just break the wage structure and have some people being bigger than the club. He is a good player. He's a wonderful player. You know how much I like Gallagher. I have been a fan from the beginning. But is he bigger than Chelsea Football Club? Absolutely not. So let's wait and see. I'm not worried either way. But him going this January, it's not happening. I'm almost, you never know in football. You never know till you know. But this, I'm not. I don't think this is going to happen. Why would he?
Yeah, I agree with you. It's football. Anything can happen within a day. Yeah, you don't know. Yeah. Thanks so much for that. Sanchez, aka Panic Boots, Bambi legs on eyes, and needs to earn his place back. Poch cannot play favorites. It must be based on merit. Let's be clear here. The goalkeeper trainer, I don't know how you phrase that correctly, who's worked with Sanchez at Brighton. I don't think he has the final say. The manager is saying the performances of both goalkeepers. He's seen the performances of both goalkeepers, and you could say has had time enough to compare both and conclude which of them should be the starting goalkeeper. I don't think he'd risk bringing in Sanchez based on the biases of you can say of the goalkeeper trainers and not select the what we all as fans have seen with time and have seen. You can say we have enough sample size to say, yeah, Petrovic should be the starting goalkeeper. I don't think he'd risk that. If he does that, he'd have a lot of questions to answer, especially if Sanchez comes in and falters. So I'm just going to leave it at that. I'm not too concerned really, but we'll find out. And we have late in the house, we need to sell Sanchez. Petrovic being showing he's better than Sanchez. Petrovic in that Villa game showed his passion. You could argue had that been Keparis of Alaga or even Sanchez, we could have lost that game. But Sanchez himself is a good goalkeeper, but you could argue it's safe to say, yeah, Petrovic is the better of the two goalkeepers. And if again, let him earn this place, just like Chimera said over there. Let's move on to the next item we have lined up, people. Yeah, go ahead.
Competition is good, Coach. It's good to have goalkeepers vying for the position. You know, we need that. It wouldn't be healthy if that wasn't the case. So I'm really not worried at all. In fact, I'm quite pleased that we have two goalkeepers that people feel are worthy to scrap for the position against each other. That's very healthy for a team. Oh, yes.
Yeah, the competition is good for us. We need them both. Again, whoever shows is the better goalkeeper should be started. Let's move on to the next item we have lined up, people. Keep dropping the likes on the stream. Let's go. They're saying this preseason, the coming preseason, maybe Chelsea and treble winners Manchester City, treble winner Manchester City are due to travel to the United States this summer, and the two clubs are in discussion to play a friendly match against each other. No need to talk about that. We just move on from that. Except if anybody on the panel has anything to add to that, that will be a good one actually. But let's move on. Except if anybody wants to talk about it, I don't think there's a need for that. But Chelsea have been handed a boost with the news that Levi Colwill injury is considered to be minor. It remains to be seen whether he is available for the trip to Liverpool. But even if he is not, he's not expected to miss much time. That is some good news there. Keep dropping likes on the stream, people, and the likes do go along. Way 20 likes. We should be doing way better than that. Let's see what the people in the chat has to say before we move on to the next item we have lined up. And the Kingsley China Wednesday, $1 I appreciate you for finding the time to join the show this particular morning. Good evening to you, my big brother. I appreciate you saying that. Good evening to you too. It's still morning for me. It's still 11:48 a.m. for me, but I appreciate you saying hi to your brother. I appreciate you. And we have Chimera saying I'll be punched out if Sanchez somehow gets back into this team. I will not judge him until again, if he does that and Sanchez falters, then now I will let the world know how I feel about that. Because I'm usually not into quick to judge people. I give them time. You never know. Maybe he makes a change, and Sanchez comes in and justifies the manager's confidence in him that he's the better of the two. But right now, I'm still saying Petrovic. For me, I've seen enough to say that Petrovic is the better goalkeeper of the two. If that's my opinion anyway, to be clear. Then keep dropping the likes on the stream. Anybody on the panel want to talk about this news about Levi Colwill, that his injury are not as bad as we thought, especially when we heard about it. Go ahead.
If that is true, then it's a relief that he should be back soon, because, you know, Chelsea injuries have gone on for months rather than a couple of weeks or a couple of games. So if that's true that it's not that bad, then that's. I mean, no injury is good, but it's a relief for us because it means that we haven't got this guy just crocked and joining the line of people funding the injury table. I was
Mhm.
going to add one quick thing, Coach.
Yeah, go ahead.
All this talk of Broja going and so on. I mean, I'm thinking, do you know what? What a blooming waste. If he does get sold, which I have my doubts because I don't see a replacement coming in, and we've only got a couple of days left of the transfer window. If he does go, then that just means all Chelsea Football Club has done is funded a player for the injury table because he hasn't really played for us. And that really has to be looked at. I mean, what the hell is going on? We can't be doing this. All these players on the injury table, then straight from the table sold to other clubs. No, that's pretty poor. So at least I would expect him to give some service to the club at least this season, and we get some of our money's worth. Yeah, I know he's a academy graduate, but he's not earning sand. He's got to be at least on 50K a week. That's some serious money. Some people don't even get that in a year. So I'm not too happy about that. That seems a bit uh, uh, um, irresponsible and rather just reckless. Honestly.
Yeah, when we get to that, I think we have that lined up somewhere. Here's something that I want to say to you quickly, Bobby. We just say that the fact we've had so many players out injured at the same time, at least I think the average is around 7, 8 players per game since the start of the season. Would you say it has gotten to the extent that you can say we've become a paranoid to the extent where we become too concerned that the slightest a player feels some measure of discomfort, we just say we don't want to risk too much and say, you know what, you take a day off. We don't want it to get worse. It seems
Yes,
as if it's gotten to that because
it
we
has
have
got.
situations, players. We've had players that played the final, for instance, the Champions League final with W. Luiz and all that. But this time now, it just seems as if that's the case. The slightest a player feels any measure of discomfort, we say, okay, you go take a seat. We don't want to risk it. Would you say that has become the case?
Not just for the fans, but for the coaching team alike. We have
Mhm.
not had a team this season. This is a point I've been screaming at the top of my lungs. Well, not literally, but
No, but
screaming
I
at the top
understand.
of my
Yeah.
lungs for a long time. When I hear people having a go at the team, I'm like, well, what team? You're having a go at the manager. Well, he's not had his players. You're having a go at the ownership. Well, all they did was invest. They didn't put them on the. They're still paying these geezers on the injury table. So yeah, we're all scared. Somebody pulls up a little bit, and we're like, okay, just go rest and heal, because we don't need or want any more. We still have so many out. They haven't come back. Nkunku's still not back. Lavia, well, I don't think we're going to
Mhm.
see him this season. Um, uh, Gusto out. Reece James, I'm not sure we'll see him this season. Wesley Fofana, I don't know, maybe not this season. I mean, Cucurella. These are key big players for this club, and they're not available. Most of whom haven't been available all season, or maybe have played, like Lavia's case, just 20 minutes. Um, so of course we're scared. So any little thing, we're wrapping everybody up in cotton wool.
Yeah, chances are that's the case. Phil, I don't know if you have anything to add to that. I think that's the case, really. But let's say, Phil, if you're
Unfortunately, I don't have anything to add because seems like Bobby just said it all.
yeah. And Bobby, just quickly, let me say this. I know you've alluded to that a bit slightly, maybe. It does look like we may well not sign any player this window.
Yeah, I've been saying it from the beginning of January. This fit and proper persons rule in the Premier League has got everybody on on holding back in the transfer market. Even Newcastle, the said richest club in the world, they can't spend money. They need to sell before they they spend. Hence all this talk of trying to selling to Saudi, selling Alvaron to Saudi.
Mhm.
They're saying on the surface that they wouldn't want to do it, but if the Saudis give them decent money, they're going to want to do it because of their books. Arsenal holding back. Liverpool, well, the only people that seem to be spending at the moment is Tottenham. Tottenham and is it Bournemouth bought someone today? But nobody else. The transfer market is it's quiet. Now Chelsea can spend, but they're keeping their powder dry because they know that their targets are expensive ones. I'm with every passing day. I'm and the fact that they haven't gone or even looked like going for Ivan Toney. I'm thinking Osimhen really is a target. Chelsea, they will, act, give you a distraction, focus somewhere else, and then turn and strike on their real target when you're convinced they're not even looking at him. I can see that now. It's not, I'm not an oracle, but I can really see that deal. He fits what Chelsea would like, even his injury record. Uh, but I see that. So yeah, I mean everybody's quiet, and I think this window could well pass without us doing anything. What's today? What, the 29th? Is
Yeah.
it the 29th? Yeah, it's only after today. What, 2 more days? What deal is going to happen in 2 days? Not that it can't happen, because a lot of it is going on in the background without our knowledge. But it's going to be
Yeah.
the only
Chances are
kind
that's
of
the case. Yeah.
yeah. The only kind of thing you could, have Chelsea do is that suddenly you find they've dropped the 120 million for Osimhen. But Osimhen's focused on the Cup of Nations right now. He's not going to be thinking of transfers, and he's not going to do any medical or anything like that. He's focused on serving his country. So it's likely that the transfer window will pass and we'll do absolutely nothing. I've been saying this from the beginning. I can see us doing absolutely nothing because we've got a big expenditure or two in the summer, but we're not going to be in the summer even. You're not going to see hundreds of players going because we've done our deals, we've done our business. It's just to consolidate on those key areas that is so clear that we need to replace. And indeed, a centre back might come in the summer because Thiago Silva is likely to go, and Wesley Fofana with his biscuit legs, he really can't be trusted. And with Chalobah going as well, we have room for another person in that centre back spot.
Yeah. And the truth is, I think something you've mentioned already. The owners, they are not into splashing the cash for the sake of it. They are, you can argue, a strategic with their spending. I get it. A lot of people will argue, yeah, but that hasn't worked. Yeah, it takes time. It takes time given the fact we have an entirely new squad. They know exactly what they're doing. And I'm going to say something I've said 1,000 times. The future, the immediate future might seem a bit, you could say, helter scatter, or you could say it's just everywhere. But the future proper, believe me, you need glasses to see how bright it will get for Chelsea Football Club. I'm not
Yeah.
too concerned, and it makes sense. But a lot of people will be bent out of shape for the fact that if we end up not spending this
Yes.
January, it's not too late. We still have 2 days. And a lot can
Yeah.
happen in 3 hours in the transfer window. But it looks like you wanted to say something else.
Yeah, yes, please. I mean, this really amuses me. I mean, I remember not too long ago, the criticism of Chelsea. Oh, they're too trigger happy. Oh, they don't give their managers a chance. Oh, they're not patient. All these things takes time to build a team. Chelsea don't want to take time to build a team. Okay, now we're taking the time to build a team, and everybody's complaining. Oh, the manager is no good. Oh, the ownership, they bought rubbish players. These players aren't ready. No, they're not ready because they're getting ready. They're building. They're integrating. They're young. And oh, by the way, what has really delayed this progress is that half the flipping team have been out injured. What do you want? What do these geezers want? Everybody thinks everything's got to be like this magic wand. Nobody can build, nobody can take time to create something and understand that creating something takes time. Rome wasn't built in a day. I think, considering everything this club has been through, we've done quite well, honestly. Even at times when I've been so frustrated with some of the crap performances, there were reasons behind those performances. It happens with a team that's new, young, not integrated yet. Even when they have a full fit squad, you can imagine when the squad is not fit. So we've got to be patient. We simply have to be patient. And our focus should be, when are these injuries coming back? Because that's the problem we have, not the manager, not the owners, not the players even, the injuries. Not the available players, let's put it that way.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Thank you so much for that. I have my Swiss bro, BRZ in the house. BRZ, nice to see you. I hope you're doing well. I appreciate you finding the time to join the show this particular morning. And we have, just give me 1 second there. We do have Nkunku injured again. Same with Gusto. No, they're not. I'm not sure where you got that from. The Chelsea boy at 12:34. Nice to see you. And by the way, Namara Fowler, nice to see you. Let's move on to the next item we have lined up. People, keep dropping the likes on the stream. 22 likes. We should be doing way better than that. Let's go, people. Let's go. Right, we have this one here. Trevor Chalobah, West Ham are keen, keeping an eye on Trevor Chalobah. He still has a few years left on his contract. I would advise, in my opinion, not to sell him. He's Chelsea through and through, and he's a good defender. But I still think, I don't know whether you feel the same, Bobby. I still think the issue with the new owners is the fact that he pushed to leave. He pushed to join Bayern Munich, and the deal didn't go through at the time. I think it was because Chelsea wanted a clause on the contract, actually buy option in the contract at the time, and Bayern didn't want that. They just wanted him on loan, and he pushed to leave. You could say that infuriated the owners, and we've seen a pattern. There's a pattern to that behavior. Every player that has one way or the other indicated that they want to leave gets sold. In this case, I'd say if the manager, if he's fit enough and the manager gives him an opportunity and he gives a good account of himself, I'd say keep him. He's an excellent defender in my opinion. But let's say, Bobby, I don't know if you have anything to add to that. But yeah, it's looking at cheap sold already. Let's hear you.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not sure what happened. I'm not, don't quote me, but I'm of the opinion that he didn't exactly push to be sold. I think he was more or less made to feel he was surplus to requirements and thought, well, okay, then if that's the case, I may as well move on. He has been injured, by the way, and before all that Chalobah will be sold situation, the manager showed a liking for him and gave him the captain's armband. And he played at least one preseason game, and then his injury came in. So I'm not sure about that. I think the issue came when he was to be sold, and he was like, I would rather Bayern Munich or nothing, because he declined going to Nottingham Forest. Now, Trevor Chalobah has 4 years of contract left with an option to a further year. So Chelsea really should not be in any major rush to sell him. I mean,
and it looks like they're not in a rush to sell him either.
If truth be told, I would get him fit and get him on the pitch sometimes. So if you really want to sell him, people can start to see what he can do and you can up his value. I suspect that they're not confident with his injury record because people talk Chalobah, Chalobah, Chalobah. I understand it. But we've got to remember, Chalobah hasn't been fit. He has been stop start, very injury prone. and I think the ownership is have half an eye on that. I really do. I think they're
Hmm.
kind of thinking of that. But if they can get him fit and get him playing with all that years of contract, they're increasing his market value. Or if he proves to be that good, they've got the option not to sell him. So there's no real rush. I think people are looking at this pure profit thing, and they're getting impatient. Oh, Chelsea must sell for pure profit. They must sell for pure profit so they can get um Osimhen. Okay, well, if that's the case, get Chalobah fit still and sell him in the summer. This is why I repeat, I'm not sure there will be anything happening this January, both in major sales or in major purchases, because there's no rush. We've gone past the stage where we're desperate. Apart from the centre forward, we're not really desperate.
Yeah, thank you so much for that, Bobby. I appreciate you. And we have let's see, BRZ in the house. BRZ here. What do you think about the left hand side? Chances are we'll again we're looking to sign a left back. When, I do not know. But everything comes down to whether Chelsea stays fit or not. Kukurea, he's you can say he's proven to the manager that he's Chelsea level and can do well, can play, be effective on the left or on the right. And the fact that he'd be back before the end of the first quarter of 2024, I don't think the club will be in a rush to sign a left back. And the fact that also Levi Kowa can play in the left back position, and also Benwa Badishile has improved in our last game. And the application, you can argue, is more of a back three, him playing in the left centre back position than playing as a fullback. Chelsea is in a development club, Bobby. Players needed to adapt and quickly start bagging goals, no matter the age. Clear Lake has set a very low standard of purchasing these are young players. If that's how you want to see it, that's you. But I don't think that's the case. I think otherwise. I think we could sell one of them. Let's see what the club does. Please stop. Okay, signing kids. We will learn. I think they're actually looking to mix it up with Houston, and the fact that we use age and experience interchangeably, we don't seem to know that we have a relatively we have a players with relatively good experience. Because chances
I,
call.
I, re- I really need to respond here. I don't. Is that Phil? Sorry, Phil. I'm sort of talking ahead of you all the time now. Is it
Go ahead.
Phil? His name? I forgot.
No, Phil knows he can come in whenever he wants to come in.
Yeah, Coach. You see what I'm saying about impatience and so much lack of understanding. Now, all the Chelsea detractors were rubbing their hands and licking their lips. Oh, fit and proper persons. Oh, Chelsea aren't going to make it. They spent over 100 million on Caicedo. They spent over 100 million on Lavia and 60 million on is it Caicedo and Enzo, and nearly 60 million on Lavia and however million on Modric. Oh, they were all up in arms. Chelsea, let's get the lynching rope out. Chelsea are well within the fit and for the all financial fair play rules, both European and Premier League. Why is that? Because they were wise, they did their business, they utilized the amortization, and they brought the wages down. Now, how do you think they did that? It's by getting young players. The getting of young players is not foolishness, it's a strategy. They got the best young players in the world because we have to evolve. The days of Roman Abramovich and instant success with instantly made players no longer exist because of the stringent FFP rule, which, mind you, is going to get even tighter, because come the summer, you're talking of 70% of your profit being your margin of accountability, which is even tighter than now. So clubs are going to have less money to spend. This is why everybody is being cautious about spending. Newcastle, Arsenal, even Man United is sailing close to the wind. So all these people who stop buying kids, oh, you're getting rubbish kids. They don't understand that there is a financial obligation and strategy that has pushed the club down this route. Those days of buying expensive short-term players have gone. It's a problem. Man United are in problems because that's what they've done. They're struggling. Jim Ratcliffe has come in. They're scratching their head. How can we keep within FFP? Newcastle, the same thing. Arsenal, marginally, but they've been bringing youngsters through. Getting young players on lower wages is the way forward, where their wages can be incremented according to their success rate. This is wisdom. This is good business. This is genius. It's not stupidness. I think it is probably that way when you just don't want to understand why the club is doing this. They're not doing it for doing sake. They're doing it out of necessity and out of strategy, which has to be long term. The only reason it looks a bit awkward now is because of, yet again, our injuries. A lot of these players we've invested in that were there to help the team, Nkunku, Reece James, Chilwell, but to mention but a few, were out injured and are still out injured since the beginning of the season. So of course the progression is going to be hampered. Sorry, I
You're
just
right.
have to respond. Sorry, coach.
Yeah, thank you. No worries. BRT here saying, yeah, Jackson does can play there, but I'm talking specifically the left back position. Peace and blessings, Samantha. First, Doom, nice to see you. It's been a minute. I hope you've been well. Let's see what else we have here. Chimera is bang on. And yeah, if you're good enough, you're good enough. That's why also I said we use age and experience interchangeably sometimes. And that has led to us not knowing we actually have a good enough experience. The question should always be, how good are these players that we sign? Unfortunately, have the signings we've made aren't ready. Maybe that's how you see it. Even if you think they're ready, the priority, you say you should pay attention to the fact that we have an entirely new squad, and that takes time. All the money has been spent on me for the most part. Okay, we'll find out. Let's see. A big up to you too. Nice to see you. I appreciate you finding the time to join the show, brother. I hope you're doing well. And this is for you. Thank you so much. Let's see. I see. Bring Mount back first and keep Gallagher. Really. I think it will pay. It is time. It is time. But people aren't paying attention to all that. Let's see what else we have here. Keep dropping the likes on the stream, people. The likes to go along. We appreciate you all finding the time to join the show. Phil, you wanted to say something, or should we move to the next item we have lined up?
I think we can move on.
All right, thank you so much for that. Keep dropping the likes on the stream, people. The likes do go along. We sincerely do appreciate you all finding the time to join the show this particular morning. Let's go. So let's try and keep the topics light. Otherwise, I will assume you're having a conversation with someone else, and I will skip your comment. You have every right to discuss with a community member. Have a good conversation. That works out for me. Let's see what else we have here. This is saying there's currently no time frame for Romeo Latvia's return, and that's not to say that you can say he's suffering from a serious injury. With no. I wasn't talking about you, Jesse. You know, you just said to people, but we've moved on to the next topic. Let's see. There's currently no time frame for Romeo Latvia's return. That's not to say, he's done for the season or whatever he's going through, he's never going to recover. No, it's always saying a few days. I think that brings me back to what I've said before, which is the fact that there's a chance that the fact that we've averaged at least 7-8 players on the bench, injured players, every time we play a game has led to the club being ultra cautious. Has become paranoid that if a player feels a slight discomfort anywhere, let's just say, you know what, stay away from training ground for a while. We don't want to risk anything, and I don't blame them. For me, I'm not too concerned. Although people, Chelsea fans being Chelsea fans, they've taken this particular report here, which just simply says there's currently no time frame for Romeo Latvia's return. They're taking it and they're running with it, mentioning all sorts of, saying all sorts of nonsense, how much we paid for him and all that. For me, it doesn't make sense. Latvia will be back in February, and you can say that's not to say if we want him to play now that he can play. I'm just saying that we're just being ultra cautious, in my opinion. Let's move on to the next item we have lined up here. And I want us to round up as soon as possible. I don't want us to go 2-3 hours. If we address all the items we have lined up, we move on. Let's go, people. Chelsea are expected to go big for Victor Osimhen in the summer, and the early indications are that he will be open to moving to Stamford Bridge. I've seen some reports saying that he's actually said yes to Chelsea, but that's no different from saying that he's chosen Chelsea. We've seen some reports saying he's chosen Chelsea, some saying that he said yes to Chelsea, some are saying that he's open to joining Chelsea. These reports are their titles don't differ, actually. They're saying the same thing. So I think you can say this is just content creators realizing that you can say that he's the most talked about player with regards to Chelsea transfer activities. So they know if you say anything, people will straight up want to hear from you. Talk about Victor Osimhen. You could just write a new article and say Victor Osimhen to join Chelsea in the summer, and that's it. And people will come and listen to you. We want to come. We want to hear you talk about it even further, so to speak. So to me, it's nothing new here. It's something we've known. We've heard. Yeah, he'd prefer to come to join Chelsea than any other Premier League club, and we've heard we've seen the comment from Napoli's president De Laurentiis saying, yeah, that Victor will most definitely leave Napoli in the summer. He said that he mentioned PSG, Real Madrid, and used the term a top Premier League club. So I'm just going to move on from that. I don't think there's any need to waste time on that particular report. Keep dropping the likes on the stream. The likes do go a long way. Anthony TP here says, do you know about Andrea Santos' situation? Will he be available for next match? Here's the thing. I don't think he gets, in my opinion, I think we called him back because he wasn't playing at Nottingham Forest. Yeah, it was a horrible, I wouldn't say decision, because at the time we thought, yeah, that they wanted him. They convinced us to believe that they wanted him, that he gets to play. And we're talking about a player, when we signed him, we were fighting. We did all we could to get him a work permit at the time to start playing for the first team, but he didn't have enough points, given the point system I'd used at the time. He didn't qualify for a work permit. Why we let him go on loan comes down to the manager's preference. So now we didn't bring him because he was, again, he's going to get the opportunity to play. No, we cancelled or terminated the loan deal because he wasn't playing. In the case of for Casadei, the case is opposite. He was playing at Leicester City, scoring goals, assisting goals, and playing even more, especially when Wilfred and Didi got injured. And we brought him back because Ugochukwu is injured and he's not going to be available for a while, and he gets a chance to prove to the manager that he's good enough to be playing for Chelsea Football Club, and maybe he's meant to play for himself. I do not know, and I hope that answers your question, Anthony TP. But thank you for finding the time to join us here. Keep dropping the likes on the stream, people. The likes that do go a long way. Whether you're following the show on Instagram, X, formerly known as Twitter, or on Facebook, please help us gather more likes there to grow. And you can also come join us here on YouTube to say that he has gone to Olympics. Yeah, and I think he's not he's not available right now. He's on international assignment for Brazil. That's very correct. Namaya Fowole, thank you for bringing that up. Let's move on to the next item. We have
dear. Coach, sorry, I have to drop off. I've got to drop a guest at the train station, and
all right, no problem, brother. See you if we're still here when you come back. Yeah, no problem. I'll let you in. Let's move on to the next item we have lined up here. Keep dropping the likes on the stream, people. The likes do go a long way. Let's go, people. Let's go. All right, we got these. I think we talked about this. Yeah, and this item here. Chelsea had a bid of around 32 million euros rejected from by Club Bruges and for Antonio Nusa. Brentford have now agreed a deal worth 37 million euros, including bonuses, a resale fee of around 12.5 percent of and beaten both Chelsea and Tottenham to his transfer. I've seen a different report that suggests that the deal isn't done yet. That Chelsea aren't out of the picture until he puts signs on the dotted line. That's when you can say it's done. That sounds to me as if Chelsea are still pushing to see if they can be the one to sign Antonio Nusa. We've been following him since the last transfer window, actually summer transfer window. But let's see what happens there. Keep dropping the likes on the stream, people. 33 likes. But I think we can do way better than that. And Julius Armour, my bro, nice to see you. I hope you're doing well. Big up to you too. Everywhere supporting Chelsea content creators. Much respect for you. Michi and the rest, and nice to see you there. Let's move on to the next item. We have lined up, people. Keep dropping the likes on the stream. The likes do go a long way. Once we're done with moving from, again, we'll call it a day. No need to waste our time here. Let's go. Right, official. The Carabao Cup final between Chelsea and Liverpool will not kick off at 3 a.m. on Saturday, February 25th. Well, now, that's a new date. New date or time? I think it was always on the 25th. But anyway, I can't quite remember. I can't tell what sort of change that was made. But you have the new date on the screen, or time. More importantly, just it's on the screen there. Whether again, no need of trying to find out what was the original, schedule was like. But that's right. Well, let's move on from that. Keep dropping the likes on the stream, people. The likes do go a long way. Do you think Kasade can lift our present situation? Your opinion, bro? Here's the thing. My opinion, he says he's good enough. He's still a kid, but he's an intelligent footballer, and for me, that's a lot for me when looking at that. That's very important to me when considering how good a player he is. He's an intelligent ball carrier too. He's excellent on the ball. He has good passing range. I think if you watch him play, if you don't see his face, or if you're not told how old he is, he is. You can say the way he applies himself on the pitch, he comes across as a much older player, given how well how good he is, in my opinion. He's mature way beyond his age. I think he can make a difference. I think he's that sort of player capable of fulfilling the Enzo Fernandez role if Enzo isn't playing. He can also be aggressive. He can fulfill the defensive midfield role. You can muscle him off the ball easily like that. I hope that answers your question. Keep dropping the likes on the stream, people. The likes will go a long way. Let's move on to the next item we have lined up here. Let's go. All right. I don't know this kid, and I'm not going to speak much about him. And I hate to talk about players if all I've seen about them is a comp on YouTube, or you can say if I've heard others speak about that particular player. I usually don't like talking about them until I get to watch them. But Adam is, I don't know if that's pronounced Watson, Adam Watson, I don't know. Adam Watson caught the eyes against Chelsea in the Carabao Cup back in November 2023, while Blues sporting director Paul Winston has been to watch the midfielder in action recently. This is one for the future. I've learned not to complain everything we're linked with a youngster. That's because we're not signing all of them to come play for the first team. That has led to me not complaining that much. But that's by the way. Let's move on to the next item we have lined up here. Keep dropping the likes on the stream, people. And Mario Minto, my bro, is in the house. I hope your absence means that you've been busy and not that anything has happened on your end. But I appreciate you finding the time to join the show. Big up to you, Mario. He says You know, I don't always get to participate, but always watching. Yeah, you've told me that, brother, and I appreciate you. Thank you so much for finding the time to join the show. I hope you're doing well. Let's see, and this is for you, by the way, for always supporting. All right, let's see. This is okay, Sir Gallagher, you think? I don't even know what position he plays. Yeah, I have to be honest. I remember preseason, Poch tried Casadei as a DM. The problem was he was not much aware defensively. He's good in attacking midfield role. I think if you've watched him play for Leicester City, I think he's good both offensively and defensively. That is just my opinion anyway. I think you should take your time to watch him again, because I follow Leicester City quite a lot because of Kelechi Iheanacho, and Wilfred and Didi. Even in the absence, I kept following them because of Cesare Casadei. He's an excellent player. I think yeah, you can say reading the game. You can say becoming excellent at reading the game and occupying spaces, even when you're not marking the opposition player to try to win the ball from them. I think that will take time for him to become really good at it, but he's done really well. He did really well at Leicester City, which you could argue which is the reason why the club called him back, not because he wasn't playing, because they need him. What's your opinion about Chelsea's present situation? Will they finish top 4? Here's the thing. I'm going to tell you something that I said even before the season started, when people asked me where I think would finish. I just tell them, look, I'm not delusional, and I will not be naive enough to think that we're actually ready to compete right now. That's because we have an entirely new team. That's one. We have a very young squad. That's two. I've always told people that I strongly believe that we will do better than a lot of people expect us to do. How well? I'm not going to go to the extent of being specific. Yeah, but I think we'll do well, and I think I've seen progress. We're making progress. We've won 9 home games in a row. We haven't lost in 9 games in a row. Let me just use that language. These chances are 1 or 2 of them ended in a draw. I can't quite remember. I'm not too sure. But I hate throwing numbers at people out of my wazoo. But the point is, actually, we're making progress. But because we expect too much of this young Chelsea side, we're not paying attention to the positives. You can say that to the fact, one example being the fact that, yeah, we've done better than we're better than we were last season in so many ways. Home record plus how many goals we scored in total and all of that. So I just leave it at we would do well. How well, I do not know. Well, mathematically, we could still, make it into top 4. But let's just leave it out. We would do well. I hope that answers your question. I don't mind us using ones for the future, but what about ones for the now? That's a delicious comment right there. I think you can argue the owners. They, for me, I've seen things that that's led to me believing that they are quick learners. One, they gave Graham Potter a 1,000-year contract. For Mauricio Pochettino, they gave him just a 2-year contract with an option for a further year to make it 3. You could argue by now they've learned that actually we need a bit of experience to ensure we have a balanced squad to do well now. And again, beyond that, I still say I get it. We do need more experience, but I think they would do that. But it comes. I'm learning that they're most likely not in a rush to sign players because they don't want to make such mistakes. The type of mistakes they made when they took over the club by signing a lot of players that they ended up selling. You can say not a lot. At least one of them, players like Globally that they ended up selling, and you can say they've learned. But do I think Houston? It's something that I think we underrate this squad so much that because we use experience and age interchangeably, we don't seem to understand. We actually have you can say this squad is actually you can say relatively good. It can have relatively have a good enough you can say experience, for lack of a better way to put that point across. But I think we're good. We just need a few strategic signings here and there. And I've seen some people actually call for us to overhaul the squad again. It's important to use the word to end that sentence with the word again, which wouldn't make sense. I think the owners, they know what they want. They're very ambitious. They've not been perfect, but I can assure you they're learning from their mistakes. Let me just leave it at that. But keep dropping the likes on the stream, people. The likes do go a long way. 35 likes. We should be doing way better than that. Let's move on to the next item we have lined up. That went in this one here, which is to look at some items here, most of which are pictures from the today's training session, sessions with sessions, so to speak, which would tell us a lot, which would tell us what player trained and the players that being trained. Okay, let's see what else we have here. Keep dropping the likes on the stream, people. The likes do go a long way, and we will do a deadline day stream. Yeah, we will to follow to see if the club does anything. Robert Sanchez is back. We've seen that, and we've also had a conversation as to whether the manager should what happens if the manager drops Petrovic who hasn't put a foot wrong and starts him. Then I say I'm not going to say anything but if he falters, then I'd have a lot of questions. Let's see anything else. I think it's nothing new here. I think we've addressed everything we have. Let's see what else we have here. Keep dropping the likes on the stream. Training, some of the training pictures here. Foundation. Let's see anything else. Premier League clubs are delaying signing off on new contracts for existing players amid concerns over profit and sustainability rules. Okay, that's an issue. Chelsea are looking for a run. We've addressed that one there. And we have, I want to see more training photos. Some of them were Alfie Gikris. He trained today. I think he'll be a mainstay in the first team. No sign of Malo Gusto in training today. Okay, that's an issue. What else? Conor Gallagher and Cesare Casadei trained. Nkunku trained also. I think that's Nkunku behind Raheem Sterling and Axel Disasi. Anything else? Yeah, Trevor Chalobah trained. I hope he gets a chance. He's a good defender in my opinion. And yeah, the maestro himself trained. And that's it for today, people. There nothing else, nothing new there to talk about. We've addressed all the items we have lined up. And with that, I want to say thank you to Mario Minto for finding the time to join the show. And thank you to Anthony TP. Thank you to JC. Thank you also to Namaya Fawale there for always being available to support. And Namaya, this is for you. Much appreciated. Much love. Also, Chimera was here. Thank you to Metal Fist Doom. Thank you to all of you, JC. And if I miss your name, apologies. I'm only human. See you guys next time. God bless us all, and cheers.